Good morning, everyone. Today, I would like to take a few moments to discuss with you our proposal to take our product, AirPower, into the Chinese market. As we all know, the current demand for technology is strong in most markets. Technology continues to make our lives easier, and the demand is there for products that increase the convenience factor for the consumer. One challenge that the consumer has faced regularly in this field is keeping their devices charged. AirPower is the solution to that challenge. Not only does this product increase the convenience level of charging our many devices, it also reduces waste and enhances device durability. No longer are electronic cables needed. No longer are there throwaway batteries involved. As you can see, this slide gives you a quick refresher regarding the wireless charging technology utilized by AirPower devices. Our product transfers power across air. As seen in the picture on the bottom right, a transmitter coil would, for example, sit on a desk while the receiver would be in your device. The AC electrical current induced in the transmitter coil excites the magnetic field, which then couples to the second receiver coil. On the bottom left, you can see a picture of our integrated sub-kits. New systems would be provided to the end consumer with the technology already in place, which we will have sold to the manufacturer. It is important to note that while we make the integrated circuit, the corporate customer has to put this onto a printed circuit board and integrate it into their own product, including other parts that we do not manufacture, like the coils. One of our challenges will be crossing the adoption chasm. There are three main marketable advantages to wireless power and our product. The main advantage being convenience. The consumer drops their phone onto their desktop or phone cradle in their car and it automatically charges. A second advantage being that devices can easily be made waterproof and much safer when including wireless charging. The devices also become more reliable. With fewer mechanical components to fail, customer returns are lower and satisfaction is higher. The graphic on this slide shows a traditional pattern of early adoption and the continued adoption of technology. In this case, the basic concepts date to over 100 years ago, starting with Nikola Tesla, followed by a large chasm. Early adopters, including those shown above, then adopt the technology and drive the infrastructure to cross the chasm and take this to the next stage of mass market adoption, when the product becomes a standard or must-have. Key items necessary to crossing the chasm into mass market adoption are shown as well. These include consumer value, cost, efficiency, and size, among many others. It's important to note here that industry standards have been a key challenge in this area. We have recently seen 3 standards merge into 2, with further rationalization expected. This will simplify the technology and give manufacturers greater confidence to adopt a single standard. While this technology has been around for a significant period of time, 2015 is recognized as the tipping point for the adoption of the new technology. The chart on the right-hand side of the slide above indicates a projected 1.6 billion units that will be shipped in 2018. Cell phone applications will drive the market and the infrastructure. Consumers buy the cell phones and then go to places that they can charge their phones. Wearable devices, such as the Apple iWatch, will also adopt. There are large advantages to wearable companies in that the unit can be sealed and waterproofed. This also makes it a great technology for outdoor device applications such as health monitors and fitness trackers. Big brand adopters are obviously important and will help increase the consumer's awareness of the product. The picture on the bottom left shows the Starbucks ring, which is available in select locations in the United States already, and retrofits the consumer's current device to allow it to wirelessly charge in the store. IKEA, a popular company with students and the younger generation, who also tend to be early adopters, could expand the concept from bedside and desktop to coffee tables and into the kitchen. Car adoption will also be important as it adds a luxury convenience factor. Just drop your device in the cradle and it's charging. This can be seen in the center picture on the slide above. So far, while the technology is rapidly catching on in the United States, market adoption in China has been slow. There have been no announcements from large cell phone companies, and there is no large Starbucks-type brand to push the technology. Currently, there are no real figures available on adoption in China, but certainly major brands are not pushing at the same pace as they are in the US, European Union, and Korea. However, the emergence of the mass market will come from hundreds of small startups attempting to ride the wave of adoption when it comes. As there are large differences between marketing in the US and in China, we feel some background into Chinese marketing is relevant. One concern is the value proposition gap. Chinese consumers in the past haven't valued material items the way the Western world does, although with the growing middle class, that may be changing. The challenge for AirPower as we move forward is to think outside of our normal marketing methodologies. Principles of marketing in business-to-business markets is less widely recognized in China than in more mature markets. Marketing is defined by many in Chinese businesses as consisting of only the promotion element of the 4 Ps. Worst, the marketing departments are seen as only spending departments. Superficial output is seen as a poor substitute for the relationships that are so important in the Chinese culture and business environment. However, contrary to some Western markets, the salesperson is well respected in China. A good salesperson must be adept at forging not only relationships, but also friendships with potential customers. In many Western markets, conferences and exhibitions are seen as a waste of time and money. However, in China, this is seen as a key for success. These events are an excellent way to make initial contact with customers and could be a good means to move a potential sales relationship forward quickly. They provide an opportunity to gain trust and ask questions. The Chinese value the establishment of face-to-face interaction and strong relationships, a Chinese concept known as guangxi. The concept of guangxi, that business relationships can transform into personal friendships, is highly valued in the Chinese culture, and Chinese business people consciously spend a great deal of time nurturing such relationships. China also has the world's largest online community. Chinese companies have websites and are increasingly using online and digital marketing as their principal means of communicating with customers. The graphic above shows the preference of various forms of marketing in the Chinese culture. Note the high use of conference and exhibits, as mentioned previously, email, websites, and workplace marketing. China is a competitive landscape. Initial market entry and maintaining and growing in the future will require focused teams. The big wins can be great, but these are consumer products with short life cycles, and because of that, revenue comes in large peaks and disappears fast. In some ways, big wins can be easier. It requires a very dedicated, extremely focused team with the correct technology, but is possible. Mass market small to medium businesses require a different structure and approach. We will need to build corporate brand awareness and have a very powerful website, as most consumers will never meet us in person. As mentioned previously, websites are a significant component of marketing in China. This will help us develop partnerships and infrastructure. For our smaller customers, price will be less important than access to parts, design kits, and ease of use, which will be far more critical. The competitors mentioned in the slide are much larger than AirPower and have a greater financial muscle, greater internal manufacturing, and brand recognition already in their industry. However, They are large and will be bureaucratic and lack the flexibility that we will have entering the market. As with any international expansion, there are benefits and risks inherent in entering China. The benefits of penetrating the market include a large and growing population of consumers. With a population currently of near 1.3 billion and an urban population of 54%, that gives us 700 million potential individual customers. Currently, we would have a considerable first-to-market advantage. By becoming familiar with the Chinese market and becoming adept at operating in China, we can achieve economies of scale, obtain a geographic-specific information that can be utilized in research and development, and have China become our launch pad for other Asian Pacific regions. In this slide, you can see the current landscape of risks in China. Some of the higher risks are in the operational category. Regulatory framework is a high risk in China. China has a cumbersome procedural process for starting a business and a not-so-fair process of enforcing contracts in case of disputes. Intellectual property containment is also high risk. Piracy and counterfeiting are prevalent in the collectivistic culture in China, and enforcement of anti-piracy laws is weak and does not stop local firms and individuals from copying technologies and starting competitive ventures. There are also risks in the political, cultural, and economic categories in China, as you can see outlined in front of you. For our first international expansion, we feel it would be prudent to choose a low-risk opportunity. After reviewing the benefits and risks inherent in expansion to China, we feel the best strategy to moving forward is with a joint venture. This will help mitigate our political, cultural, operational, and economic risks. Ideally, we will partner strategically with the location for the Chinese headquarters being Hong Kong. The Global Competitive Index, or our pool of talented individuals to pull from when hiring in Hong Kong, is high, and while this means the cost may be slightly higher, it is worth it to further mitigate our risks. Design and coordination of our value chain is shown in the graphic above. All design of core IP-protected components will remain here in the U.S., allowing us to keep restricted knowledge for AirPower within headquarters or the core technology team, as well as allowing for centralization of R&D activities. Design and production of non-IP components, assembly, distribution, and technical services can all be centered in Hong Kong. We'd like to move in a slightly different direction for tech support location, with Singapore being our first choice. Within Singapore, it is easy to find qualified staff with multiple language skills, and yet it is still in a time zone that provides convenience to our customers throughout the Asian Pacific region. Our strategy for penetration in China includes immediate action towards capturing contracts with 3 types of manufacturers: cell phone and PC manufacturers, car manufacturers, and within the listed high traffic segments, including airports, shopping malls, chain restaurants, hospitals, schools, and libraries. By penetrating the high traffic segment, we can further bridge the gap into quick market adoption of the product. Once we have our contracts in place and have penetrated the market segment, we next need to move to the individual consumer market. A one-size-fits-all strategy will not work in China due to geographic and economic variations in the large country. We will need a minimum of 2 mass market entry strategies, one for the more affluent coastal and Inner Mongolia regions, and another for the lower GDP interior regions. These 2 strategies will also help us with continued expansion in the Asian Pacific region, as we will continue to see a large variance within the economics across the region. The graphic to the right clearly illustrates the variation in per capita GDP across the country. In conclusion, AirPower is a quality product designed to meet the growing demand for wireless power. It meets the target market's current needs, and by continuing to focus on superior quality, keeping our prices in check, and being a friendly and easy to work with company through our cultural training and knowledge of the target area, we can bridge the gap to mass market adoption in China, allowing AirPower to continue to grow and expand throughout the Asian Pacific region.